Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Live from the Being to the Future. So I had the opportunity 2 days ago to be in the presence of people that were sharing their views and opinions on the Western society. And I must say, I was taken back on the arrogant, egotistical way people view the Western society and society as it considers to the world. And it was going back and forth. I was listening to people discuss, their views at the time. And I was thinking about the rise of the Western society. I mean, what actually is the Western society? What is its origin? Its belief system, its culture, and how does that fare with us today in society? I've heard by many, for many of years, all the great things that the Western society have contributed to the world. And I just decided myself personally to take a deeper look into it. For the origin of the Western society or the Western civilization has its roots in Greece and in Rome. And the word origin, as many of us already know, means that something originated from. So the Western society or the Western civilization that we're living in today is equivalent to living in Greece or in Rome, right here in America, as far as the system is concerned. Now, that's just a brief overall view of the origin of the Western society that we are being subjected to here in America. And I'm going to revisit the origin of the Western society a little later, but I want to just leave that here on the table for now, just for you to think about that. I want to get back to how many ones are always talking about the good contribution and the good things that the Western society has done. Well, let's get a good understanding of the system that the Western society functions and operates the country. And let's get a good look at its culture. So we have all grew up hearing all about the West, the Western achievement, the West thought, the Western enlightenment. And we hear people describing all the contribution that the Western society has done. If you ever notice, people are happy to take collective credit for all the good that they think the West has done. But for all the bad, I mean, if you really listen to them clearly, when they're describing the West, they want to disassociate themselves from the bad. I mean, when you start talking about the bad things, they be like, I mean, what West are you actually talking about? I mean, it's as if they get an instant case of amnesia. But when I'm speaking to somebody, when someone engages me in this type of a conversation, I try to keep them to the fire because most people speak from emotion, not fact. So I look at it as a moment to educate in a humble and intelligent way, should I say, to the least. Because the way me one tell the story of the Western society, of the Western civilization, is always from a one-sided, illustrious point of view. You have ones like Douglas Murray, you have ones like Jordan Peterson, Clyde Aaron, Richard Dawkins. So if you was ever read any of these guys' books, I mean, listen to the way they have described all the contributions and the achievements that the Western society, the Western civilization have contributed. You would think that every European on this country participated in the game, assisting each other. I mean, like they did even shit. Like all they can collectively, all of them invented penicillin, from the telescope to the airplane, from the cotton gin, to the microchip, as if they did all this in one gigantic team effort. Then, they'd be like, we abolished slavery. We gave women the right to vote. We developed modern technology. So they like being called the West when they're talking about all the accomplishments and the achievements. But if you bring up just one of the West's innumerable atrocities, and everyone start looking around like, okay, you made a mistake talking about the wrong type of West. I mean, it wasn't me. They get that shaggy type of personality where it wasn't me. And then they start talking about their forefathers. My forefathers didn't own slaves. My forefathers didn't slaughtered the Native Americans. My forefathers were just poor, innocent peasants. And when they described this part of the Western society, they always look so innocent. And most people want to take collective credit for the contribution and the achievement of the Western society, of Western civilization. But turn right around and they want to individualize the blame. I mean, you can't have it both ways. Because in one instance, we're saying that Isaac Newton is a product of the West. Michelangelo was a product of the West. Mozart was a product of the West. Leonardo DiCaprio, Thomas Edison, and even Stephen Jobs. All these are products of the West. But you be able to turn around and say that all the villains of the Western society, Western civilization are all bad, all illegitimate children. You don't want to take claim for them because Hitler, Leopold, Harriet Tubman, they were all children of the Western society. Harriet Tubman killed more people in the matter of months than anyone ever did in the history of the human race. And not to mention every American president after children. And it's sad, but it's true. From the Korean War to the Vietnam War to the Dirty War from the Central and South America to Panama to the First and Second War in Iran. I mean, it goes on and on. Somalia, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria. And before Truman, I don't think the United States has ever had a single decade in its history when it wasn't slaughtered some people somewhere in the world. And they were all products of the Western civilization. But anytime we talk about the crime, and you blow these crimes up, like the people who have committed these things, we begin to bring up everything of them. They begin to deny the collective responsibility. And then we hear them always say, why don't other countries condemn acts of terrorism? You know, as you hear them speaking, like I'm quite sure everything is happening. But why we don't condemn acts of terrorism on these shores? I mean, what about all the acts of terrorism that took place here in America? What about the indigenous people, the African Americans, the Asiatics? No one ever was condemned those things. As a matter of fact, they, Western society, celebrated. They had a statue, as many of us know, Western Churchill, who starved millions and millions of Bengali. Used poison gas on the curb. He was never, ever tried for war crimes. So not only do the Western society don't condemn their own for war crimes that they should be tried, when we elect them to office. Not elect them, but re-elect them. And then turn right around and deny any responsibility for any atrocity that any of them may have ever done. I mean, if you want to be called the West when it comes to positive achievements, the people is going to have to accept being called the West for the full category. The full catalog of human genocide, murder, rape, torture, bigotry, exploitation, oppression, assassination, corpse, subjugation, evil, and brutality. I mean, all of it that the Western society have ever committed. That's why I always say that the Western society is a sarcastic term to say the least, because of its lack of being civilized. I mean, saying that we have done some cool things in the Western society or in the Western civilization, it's not a defense. And many of their approach to morality is just, let's not say that we did anything. Because if we say we didn't do anything, maybe it would go away. And I mean, people think that righteousness is denying the evil that they did, not trying to stop themselves from doing evil again. Now that's, I think, is rational thinking. And as long as you continue to say that you don't do evil, or you call it something else like casualties of war, then somehow you're not evil when you actually do evil, as long as you don't admit it. I mean, it's an upside down world. Every day is a backwards day in the West. Bad is good, wrong is right. I mean, it's no surprise that you think that a person should be whatever pronoun that they self-identify as, because that's what the Western society have always believed. That's what it have always done. For it self-identify itself as virtuous, as moral, as righteous, as free, loving, tolerant people, even though you have never, ever been that. And no one in the world sees you, the Western society, as that. But still, you will insist, the people who have that mindset, that that's what we should call you. You would insist that that's the way we deal with you, as if you are just that. They always believe that the whole world should be or take a participation in their own self-delusions. So they came up with this idea that a man should be called a woman and treated as a woman if he believes that that's what he is, or a woman, a man. Well, this isn't new with them. It have always been this way. They believe this. It always been through the history of time. The Western civilization have always functioned in the world. They believe that they have the right to defy objective reality, and that their own victims have no right to defy them, no matter what they may insist on them. For they would always believe, whatever they do, that they're blameless. And many people in the West think that they are immune from blame, no matter what they do. And yes, I do agree that some of your forefathers were probably poor peasants that maybe didn't participate in the crimes of the West, that didn't participate in colonization or imperialisms. I would agree with that. That they didn't have anything at all to do with it, but they also have no reason to take credit or pride for the achievements of the West either, because they were just as much of a victim of the West in their own way as many of you who are trying to take pride in it today are. I mean, if you was to feel the need to disassociate yourself from the crimes of the Western society, then disassociate yourself from the achievements as well, and realize that many of you and your forefathers and your ancestors were all abandoned and betrayed and duped by the propaganda about the Western society. No one ever cared about your developments or your forefathers' developments. No one ever cared about your welfare or your forefathers' welfare. No one ever cared about your upliftment advancements. No one ever cared about you. Not your forefathers, not your ancestors. And the worst about it, the West don't care about you. And when I say you, I'm speaking about the ones who are always bragging about the Western society or the Western civilization. I mean, you are defending it like you have no self-esteem, like you have no pride. And you and I both know that the West don't care if you starve to death. They don't care if you it's just placed out of your house, kicked out of your home, and live on the street. It don't care if you spend the rest of your life drowning in debt. How many people do we know that's out here living this fruitious life as if everything is going well, but behind the screen, behind the veil, they drowning in debt, working from paycheck to paycheck, then finance and refinance their homes so many times where they are renting their own homes from the bank. They don't care if you fry your brain on drugs. They don't care if you decide that life is too hard. They help you kill yourself. That's the West. And that's what the West think of you. The West have never, ever raised any of you right. Me neither, because you don't matter to the West. They don't care if you have knowledge. They don't care if you have education. They will pass you on to the next grade, whether you can read or write, because you don't matter. Every day of your life, the Western civilization all around you is shouting at you in a million different voices that you don't matter. You are just a replacement clog in the machine. Everyone in the West is regarded as a disposable by the West. And still you defined it as if it's the pinnacle of human refinement. And many of you need to break that spell, because you're living in a trance of propaganda that's all designed to keep you oblivious to your own humiliation. But then you get mad at ones who are trying to tell you to break this particular spell, to break this particular trance. You get mad because a person is trying to tell you that you need to stop being humiliated.
You need to stop aligning yourself with the ones who have humiliated your forefathers, but you don't want to disassociate yourself. You want to hold on to the indoctrination. You don't want to do no kind of research for yourself. You just want to accept whatever's being passed down to you as truth, and then wholeheartedly defend it with your life as if you was in the boardroom and all these decisions were being made. So whenever you talking about all the great things that the Western society or the Western civilization has contributed, remember the bad things as well. And if you study it closely, you just may find out that we are still living up under the Roman Empire. For we've been limbered up under that for a long, long time. So you need to wake up and understand the actuality of what's going on. But we don't want to look at it. We don't want to look at the colonization's religion. We don't want to look at what actually happened to us. But all these things was created from the Western society or the Western civilization to civilize you. And all these things, all these different religions came out from a period of 1600 to 1800. And we as a people was in slavery from 1779 to 1865. So all these religions was created during a period of time when we were in slavery. I'm going to get back into the research, and I think many of you need to do your own research, because a lot of things that we have been believing in for such a long time is just as if we're living in Rome or in Greece. And on my part two of the rise of the Western civilization, I want to address how we got here. And from here, how did we move from this Western society to this Western society? And who is actually benefiting from it? So until next time, just think about it. You just may be living up under the Roman Empire. Think about it. Peace.